Greetings, Internet. Welcome to Aaron Plays, and I hope you're doing fantastically well. This will be episode 34 of my playthrough of GMT's Great Battles in the Civil War Into the Woods, which is the Battle of Shiloh. We're partway through the 8 a.m. turn. We're about to do an activation by Clark's division as he's marching up on the, make sure I get Confederate right onto the Union left. So let's go down the map. Oh, remember to do the housekeeping, to like, subscribe, and comments. All appreciated. Let's go down the map. Okay, so following the sequence, we are into the draw phase with Drew Clark. He has total 3 activations this turn, 3 AMs being put into the pool, even though Polk only got 2 on his efficiency draw. Beauregard gave him an additional point that he could use, and he could assign it to any one of his divisions, and he assigned it to Clark because we need to get him moving, fatigue or not. So we're not going to be changing any of Clark's orders because we need to moving as fast as we can, and we can't go into march orders. So he'll be using his advance to get as fast as possible. Let me just zoom out a little bit. We want to get, as I say, onto the right of Hinman's division to start to drive into Spain's field, attacking Miller if we can. So no change of orders, so we're straight into the movement. And we're going to do Stuart's brigade first along the road. So they're not in march order, so this road will cost them 1 per hex. So it's just 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not changing the facing yet. I'll change that in the end. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there we go, with his attach extended. Okay, when they're in this order, using the benefits of the road, they've got to be in march order stacking, which is a maximum of 7 infantry SPs per hex. If they were actually in march order, they would be able to basically use this road at a half movement point per hex. But the rules, for some reason, stop them doing that. In the special rules, there's 1 or 2 of those in this. If you've been following the sequence, yeah, I'm just moving these straight up. There's nothing really complicated happening here. But that's Stuart's brigade, and then we have, who's Clark stacked with? Russell's brigade will be following straight behind. Again, we'll just change that facing a little bit. These extended markers. Okay, now he's 14, so he's over 2 hexes. That's correct. 12 will be over 2 hexes. 16 will be, unfortunately, over 3. So let's move these up here. And we've got the winding road, don't we? Boop, boop. That's that. I think some artillery at the back here. Polk can't move. He can't move until the actual command phase after all the activations. Okay, so that is actually Clark's division done. Yeah, so I will now bring up the draw pool, placing Clark's little marker there into his little AM pool, and we'll draw another chip. And it is Withers. Withers is now Withers. Okay, so let's minimize that. And now Withers, looking at this sheet here, he has 1 AM down here, so that means he must have 3 in the pool. Okay, so let's have a look. What is with this? Is Withers' division, and he's part of Bragg, so there's Bragg, his overall commander. And Withers has got Gladden. He's stacked with Jackson. So So that's yellow and blue. There's a red one there. So Chalmers. Okay. So I'm just going to zoom out a little bit, and we will want the Confederates to put, well, he needs to fit between Ruggles and Claiborne, which is Hindman's. So he's going to through this little gap here, which Claiborne probably going to move this way so that Withers can fit in. Though I might only put one brigade in the lead. Keep some in reserve. Reserves are always good. Okay, so with that in mind, let's zoom in and focus a little bit on him. Gladden's got a +1. He seems to be quite aggressive. Chalmers not so much, and oh, Jackson's a little bit. That's the I'm looking at their rating here in the little bottom corner. That shows how aggressive they are, how likely they are to, because Jackson's got a C. He's cautious. These are normal, but that +1 shows how adaptable they are to changing their brigade orders by themselves. Now we've still got this darn awful terrain to cross, but cross it they must. Okay, so let's start with Gladden. So this is 1.5, 3, and then it is 3 to go into those marsh hexes. I'm just bringing up my little terrain effects chart. And it's got a little D there. So that D stands for when they actually leave the hex, they've got to do a disorder check. So that's 6. This guy go 1.5, 3, 6, 1.5, 3, 4.5, 6, 1.5, 3, 4.5, 6. Yeah. This guy might as well go in road order, mightn't he? So he might well go 1. Wait a minute. Can't go through. Let's do the guns first. And the guns can't go to that marsh. So I think pretty much all the artillery are going to be trying to cross this bridge at some point. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's not actually strictly true either. Artillery on the road is it is one. So it's the farmland that they struggle. That is the road, isn't it? Okay, so that is strictly true. There we go. We'll keep him there. Right, now bring this guy up. 1. Now he's got to go into extended column. Maximum 6, 7 stacking. If using the road. 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll change facing if necessary. 6. Okay, let's do that. With his extended just right behind him. There we go. Right. Gladden will go there, and we'll give him his little A1 activation, show that he's done. Cleared all the move markers. Right. So that's Gladden. Next up, Chalmers. Chalmers. Basically going to be behind, isn't it? So 1.5, 3, 4.5, 6, 1.5, 3, 4.5. Mr. Sidney Johnson, you're in the way. We need to keep that with Gladden. And the rest of Chalmers. Traffic jam. That's technically 1, 2.5, 4.5. No, 2.5, 4, 5.5. Yeah, there is a bit of a traffic jam. 1.5, 3. Want to keep them all together, so Chalmers will get to there. The artillery along the road will get to there. And then we give him his little A1 activation. Doop. Gladden, Chalmers. Yes, a little bit of a traffic jam. Right, okay, now crossing this stream is +1. So that's 1 + 1 is 2. When I was at school anyway, I'll just double check that it is only +1. I should be able to memorize this by now, but there's a lot of terrain on the chart. That is a stream, that is +1. Okay. Okay, so that's 2, 3, 4.5. 1, 3, 4, 5.5. That's Jackson. 1, 2 + 1, 3, 4.5. And again, moving the artillery up. Keeping it all together, and Withers will go with Jackson. And then there's cavalry. But Withers hasn't been assigned. So it's not out of command because it's still part of Withers. So it's classed as a separate brigade. So there's Withers, and we'll move the cavalry up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We don't want to be too bold with the cavalry. I haven't actually quite worked out what to do with the bloody stuff at the present moment in this terrain. We're not going to have any howling chop things like that, and they can't even dismount in it on this. Most of the Civil War battles they can dismount, but this one they can't. So we've got dull and awful terrain. Can they charge through these woods? I'll have to double check that. I mean, we haven't had a situation where that is going to be useful. But yeah, that's about it. That's Withers done. As I say, we have an almighty traffic jam. Really caused by the woods and the nature of the initial deployment that the Confederates were in. So let's bring up the kepi, wherever the kepi is gone. There it is. I want to get the Withers thing. There we go. All right, so Withers is done. He's had his first activation. I'll put it in there, and I will draw the next chip, but then I'll end the video. So just flip that over. Who's next? Oh, well, we might as well resolve the battle event. Battle event is one of the charts, one of the few charts. The ammo resupply and the battle events chart. I didn't. Oh, but wait a minute. Is it at the top here? Actually, is there? It is. It's on here. Woo. Can I bring it all in? Let's keep it that way. So each scenario has a number of battle chits. Okay, so we're on the 8 a.m. to 12 noon. There was 4 of those. The first one, nothing actually happened, but the second one, here we go. So we roll percentage dice. Let me just move me. All right, remembering. Well, so for me, the black dice is the 10s. So let's see what we get. Nothing because they don't fall down. There we go. 67. 67 is no fire. Right. What is no fire? The Confederate player in any subsequent activation this turn may avoid either approach fire, return fire, or Union phasing infantry fire from one unit. That is not bad. Okay, so what it's saying is no fire. The Confederate is in any subsequent activation. I was just double checking, make sure there wasn't a subsequent roll. I've got to roll for see which side got affected by it, but this is a Confederate advantage. I suppose it's reflecting the smoke, confusion, or emerging from the woods and so on. The Confederate player in any subsequent activation this turn may avoid, I keep repeating that one, don't I? By either approach fire, return fire, or Union phasing infantry fire from one unit. For phasing fire, the range must be 2 or more hexes. After fire is announced by a Union unit, but before the die roll. So what it's saying is at some point in this turn, if the Union opens fire, the Confederate can ignore it, but it's from one unit. And the phasing fire, that's when the Union is phasing, it's got to be 2 hexes or more, which again is reflecting the confusion and going through the woods. So after fire is announced by a Union unit, but before the die roll, the CSA player announces he will use the chit to avoid fire. The rebel player holds this chit as a reminder until played. When played, the Union unit is considered to have fired that type of fire for the activation, but does not check for ammo depletion. Okay. If split fire is used, only the designated strength points are considered to have fired. If not played before the end of the turn, return it to the AM pool in the next activation phase. If called for by that turn in the scenario. Okay, so I've got to remember now, my memory's not bad, but how am I going to remember that? I'm going to have to do something with that shit. I'm going to stick it next to Mr. Sidney Johnson. Let's put it on the actual battlefield. Mr. Sidney Johnson, to remind me, hopefully, that they got that shit at some point. Right. Okay, so might as well draw the next shit then, mightn't we? Because there wasn't a unit. And who is next? Well, it's a Union. And it's McClernand. McClernand. Okay. Which is who? There's McDowell. McClernand, it's the 1st Division of the Army of Tennessee. And again, some of his units are going to different locations, aren't they? Okay. But we will do that and worry about that all in the next episode, which will be episode 35. So let's go back to the top and have my end of activations or whatever, jibber jabber. It's the movement. Clark's probably in his next activation. Maybe one more activation of him marching, but then I think on his 3rd, he might actually be able to change it to attack orders and start doing the attack there on the Spain field. The big division we need to get activated is Hinman's, and he hasn't come through. He's probably sitting on his butt, not doing anything at the moment, because we need him moving forward to get space for the other guys. So hence why we're getting a traffic jam with Withers, because we need Claiborne out the way so Withers can get fully engaged, and then Ruggles. You see what's happening. It's bam, everyone's in everyone's way. And again, I think a lot of that is down to the way the Confederates set up. Maybe a bit of my fault for where I moved them, but hey ho. And yeah, that's what's happening. So yeah, not a turn of or a video of much action, but marching up and getting ready for the next. That battlefield event was interesting. There's 4 of those chits, as I said, in the pot, and when we roll for each one. And there's also a random event chit in there as well. So when that comes up, we'll have to check what all the random events are. Until next time, if you could do all the housekeeping, the like, subscribe, and comments, that'll be appreciated. It all helps the channel. And yeah, play games, have fun by internet.